Yes, so we get into the prelims in Seattle. We have 11. Sorry, we have seven. 11. Seven prelims. There's one person making their debut, and it all kicks off with the strawweight. Yes, we got three. This is the first of three women's fights on the card. We have Alexia Thainara against Bruna Brasil. So, Bruna Brasil, she is 32, 5'6", 65.5-inch reach, right? Overall pro record of 11-6-1. In the UFC, she is 3-4. She came via the Contender Series. I think she was on the Brazil, the Latin American version. I think that's where she came from. I think they only did one, I believe, right? Also fought once in the LFA. Her overall pro record. Oh no, it did that. She's coming off of a loss. Yes, coming off a loss in her last fight, which was against Ketlin Souza, and that was February. Right? So yeah, not that long ago. Not that long ago that she fought. It wasn't a major eventful fight. It just went to a decision. You know? Yeah, I just think neither were. You see, this is the thing sometimes. Like, people just ain't active enough, right? They're just not doing enough. And so even if you're fighting someone else who isn't that active, they just have to throw one punch more and they can win the round, right? So that was it with her. Yeah, okay, so, right, she fought on the Contender Series, won that contract. That was September 2022. She stopped Manick Man, second round head kick, right? Second round head kick, phenomenal, but wasn't able to really capture that back in the promotion. You know, which is, yeah, it's just one of them things, man. It's just not always, she made her actual her UFC debut. So April 2023, got stopped in the second round by strikes Denise Gomez. Gomez, I think, actually. She did win the next one, beat Shauna Brannon. Right? But then lost to Luma Boomy, beat Molly McCann, then lost to Kong Wang, right? And that's what it's like, win, lose, win, lose. Like, it's just alternating. She hasn't been able to put together a run, right? She's shy, then lost to Ketlin Vieira. It's Ketlin Souza even. And yeah, that's the problem, right? There's not enough consistency since getting into the promotion side. She was beating everyone, the funny thing is these two have fought before, right? They fought 8th of November 2019, and she got a guillotine in the third round. Right? Thunder Fight 20. That's what the card it was on. I think it's a Brazilian promotion. So yeah, she got guillotine in the third, right? But that doesn't really tell us a lot. She could have been losing the first two rounds, and Alexia could have shot in, left her head on the wrong side, and it's over, right? But Brazil does have the victory. You know what I mean? She does have that. So yeah, it's like, she does like a guillotine. She's had several of those. And, she stopped a few people, but the majority of her fights are going to go the distance, right, with Brazil. But she's got plenty of experience. You know what I mean? She's been in with a different array of fighters, so she's seen a lot of different looks. Now, so the fight, right? Alexia Thainara Bogashina, right? Bogashina. She is 28, 5'4", 67-inch reach. Right? Overall, she's 13-1. Right? 13-1. She is 2-0 in the UFC. Came via the Contender Series as well. And yeah, right? She's currently on a 13-fight win streak. I mean, 11-fight win streak, my bad. 11-fight win streak. So, right? If she's 13-1, that means that Brazil fight, that's her one and only loss. Her one and only loss. Which is, yeah, it's crazy. Right? Now, the big thing is, right? No, she does have jiu-jitsu, right? So that was her second, her third pro fight, right? Now, 2 fights later, she wins with a rear naked choke, and she picks up a regional belt with it, right? So, she learned from those mistakes, right? Worked on those jiu-jitsu skills. So next fight out, another promotion, another belt, another rear naked. So I think that shows she put in the work. Didn't appreciate getting choked out, put in the work. Next fight, armbar. Next one, rear naked. That. Then next fight, armbar. You know what I mean? So I feel that tells us a lot about her. I think it is all well and good winning, one fight by a submission, but to win the next, what is that, like 5 fights, right? The next 5 by submission after being submitted kind of tells you there was some talks, right? There was just like, look, we need to improve. And, that's what she did, right? She worked on that. And maybe it was a thing of, right, you can't knock this person out. You've got to, right? That might have been the talk, right? So she has to hunt for those submissions, but she got them. So, yes, maybe the competition isn't incredible, but you're still able to pull those things, which is, that tells you something, Yes, they're regional fights, but it does tell you something. So yeah, she went on to the Contender Series September 2024, right? Got a unanimous decision over Rose Consahea. And then March 2025 came to the UFC and she beat Molly McCann. I believe that was Molly's last fight. Right? I think that was when Molly retired after that one. Right? And she got a rear naked again, first round. And then she fought an opponent they both have in common, Luna Lookboonmee. Brazil lost to Lookboonmee, and Alexia won that fight. That's not an easy fight to win. Right, so I think we can look at the records, right, and go, yes, Bruna has probably fought the higher level of competition, but Alexia has fought Molly, has fought Luna, won them both. Yes, Brazil, she fought and beat Molly as well, but yeah, it does tell us about Alexia, that she's been able to pull those wins off. It's interesting. Like, it's definitely an interesting one, right? It's definitely. Now, another thing with Alexia, she trains out of Rebus Academy, right? So she fights with Amanda, and Amanda's dad trains her, right? So she is getting those looks from a UFC fighter, right? She there is that. So it is, yeah, it's intriguing, it's promising, and I think Alexia is going to get that victory. So our next fight, now this fight, this is definitely an intriguing one. Like, I will say again, right, now there was some odd fights last week, right? Patterson, Page definitely is one of those with some odd matchups, but this week we got some good matchups. This next one, bantamweight clash, Ricky Simón against Adrian Yañez, and they're both coming off losses, right? Which is, that's a good matchup. They've both been in motion a minute, right? Adrian Yañez, he's 32, 5'7", 70-inch reach. He is 17-6 overall. He's 6-3 in the UFC. Had a contender series, fought in the LFA, fought in Bellator. He's got a lot of experience. He is, as I mentioned, he's coming off a loss in his last fight, right? So we last saw him, Daniel Marcos lost a split decision. That was raw. Man, that was December 2024. For some reason, I thought he had fought recently. Yeah, that's a while, right? That's a while. Now, he got that contract, right? That was August 2020. First round, Brady Hung, right? He then gets to the UFC October, right? Fought in August, then gets to make his debut October 2020. Beat Victor Rodriguez first round head kick. Then he knocks out Gustav Lopes, right? He's getting fight of the night bonuses. Third fight, another bonus. Randy Costa, second round stoppage. Right? He's on fire. Beat Davy Grant, split decision. Very close fight. Fight of the night. Right? Tony Kelly, first round stoppage. And then, then he moved up. Right now, obviously, the Davy Grant fight was a step up too, but then he steps to Rob Font. First round stoppage. Right? Jonathan Martinez stops him with leg kicks. And then it started, that was it. That was like, oh. Is it like, what's going to happen? Because, the Font fight, he just didn't have any defense. Came out hot, no defense. The Martinez fight, he was not blocking the leg kicks, right? Which was crazy. And then that wrecked him. But he then pulls off a win, right? Beats Vincescus Salvador. First round stoppage, right? So you could see a change in, the style and the way he handled himself. So yeah, then we gave Daniel Marcos, right? And that's the last fight. So I think, you know what I mean? It's one of them fighters where it's just like the loss, it can be a little shaky, right? It can be a little shaky. It can be a little like, and it can take a minute, especially when you built yourself off of that unbeaten record. You know what I mean? You're jazzed, you're coming in, you're knocking people out, right? So to then have your first loss and then another one after that, and it's just like, fuck, who the fuck am I? You know what I mean? So yeah, he turned things around with that Vincescus fight, but he now needs to the last fight was a split decision, so he won on one person's card. So you can take that away, when you're trying to break down what went wrong. Right? You can go, listen, it wasn't a wipeout. Wasn't that. What do we need to perfect? Now, it's been a minute, right? 2024. So, I'm assuming there's probably been some injuries, but that does give you a chance to fully heal, right? To maybe work on technique. If you probably can't spar, but you can, run drills, work on technique, possibly. So I think these are the times often that we see big evolutions in fighters. You know what I mean? So this is definitely going to be interesting. Now, across him, he's got Ricky Simón. 33, 5'6", 69-inch reach, 22-7. Woo! My days, right? He's 10-6 in the UFC. Also, Contender Series. I mean, so many people now are from the Contender Series. It's crazy, right? Fought a couple of times in the LFA. He's grappled a lot, right? So Ricky, he got that contract. Well, no, he didn't actually. He fought, didn't get a contract, right? He fought in the Contender Series August 2017. Won a split decision over Donovan Freelo, but didn't get a contract. Went back to the LFA, picked up a wins, won the LFA belt, defended it, and that got him that call to the UFC. In his first fight, his first fight was the win over Marab, which, I mean, it wasn't. It's such a just off-key situation, that one, right? Mark Goddard, I don't even know. And the problem I feel with that fight is he still to this day won't admit that he got it wrong. Right? He won't admit to this day he got it wrong. They're not going to change it, but I feel should at least be like, listen, I fucked up. But that's referees for you, man. That's referees. A good fight for Simón. Good result for Simón, we say. And, won the next two, right? He's fought some very good fighters. But Uriah Faber knocked him out in the first round, which was crazy. That was such a crazy fight because, Faber had been around, right? It is kind of the retirement tour. Everyone thought, okay, yeah. And then Faber does that. And you're like, yo. I think after that got Faber the fight against Jan, I think, if I remember correctly. Simón then fought Rob Font, lost a decision there. But, got things back on track, right? Picked up wins over the likes of Brian Kelleher, Rafael Sansao, Jack Shaw, But of recent times, as I say, this competition, it just gets better and better. Like Young Sedong, Song Yadong, I even beat Mario Batista, but all legitimate badasses. Vincescus Oliveira got a win over him. He then stopped Javid Basharat, which was motherfucking crazy, right? Got the win over Cameron Smotherman. Again, right? You just thought Smotherman might have it. Well, I mean, I did. But no, Simón came, got that win. Looked good. But Ronnie Barcelos picked up a win over him. And Ronnie, man, he's had a resurgence, right? It's just, it's interesting times right now, right? So Simón, you know what I mean? Like, he's older, but he's still got it, right? He has still got it, which makes this fight so intriguing. It's such an intriguing matchup, right? Like, there's only a year difference in age, right? Simón's a year older. That's it, Which is, you feel Simón's been around for only a year older. Yañez has an inch in reach, so it is very, very close. I mean, listen, I kind of feel, right, you probably go Simón because he's fought more recently. But then you get all that wear and tear, right? Those little niggles. Yañez, it might not have been since 2024 December that we've seen him. But as I said before, that's given him time to rest, right? To evolve. And he's got that hunger burning inside. So I'm going to roll the dice here, people. I'm going to say Adrian Yañez for the win. Okay, so then we go light heavyweight. I think this is, the sole light heavyweight fight. And it is a doozy, right? We do have heavyweights. We do have one heavyweight clash as well. But yeah, this light heavyweights, it's a little bit of a doozy, right? It's Navajo Stirling against Bruno Lopes. Right? So, this fight, a Brazilian cowboy, Bruno Lopes. He is 32, 6'2", 74.5-inch reach. Overall pro record of 14-2. He is 1-1 in the UFC. Went 1-1 on the Contender Series as well. All right, so he initially fought on the Contender, September 2023. Brenderson Ribeira stopped him in the first. He went to the LFA, right? He was the LFA champion, right? won the belt September 2022. So he got to the Contender. Yeah, I think it's nice the LFA didn't make him give up the belt, right? So he comes back, defends that belt, right? Beats Marcus Brigaigo, stops him, second round arm triangle, which then earned him another shot, right? Another shot. August 2024, comes back to the Contender, and he gets the win. Second round stoppage over Mikhaili Sazananin. So yeah, gets the contract, makes his debut January 2025, has a unanimous decision over Magomed Gadahaza. Right, so good win for him, good debut. Dustin Jacoby was like, not up in here, son. First round stoppage. That was May 2025. All right, so listen, we know he's got perseverance, right? We know because he did the Contender Series twice, right? Now, before the LFA and all of that, yeah, just winning. You know what I mean? He's had some submissions, some guillotines, arm triangles, right? Does like an arm triangle. That's the most submission that he's got. And a lot of KOs. But yeah, it is the regionals, right? Thunder fights where I think he's fought a lot, and jungle fights, right? So, you know what I mean? I think we can see he's got perseverance, right? But has he got enough? Across from him, he's got Navajo Stirling. He's 28, 6'4", 79-inch reach. So, younger fighter, a bit shorter. No. He's not even shorter. He's 2 inches taller, right? He's 4 inches. He's 4 inches. 4 years younger, 2 inches taller, and he's got a 4.5-inch reach advantage. Now, he's 8-0. He's pro UFC MMA record, right? He made his debut. Well, he got the contract via the Contender Series. So that was September 2024. Beat Philip Latu, second round knockout. Got to the UFC December, right? Couple of months later. Beat Tukos. Then he beat Ivan Erslan, right? And then he beat Rodolfo Balotto. Now, they were all decisions. He did look in control of all of the fights. All decisions. You know, he looks good, right? He trains out of City Kickboxing. Now, there is one thing, right? He does have an extensive kickboxing career, right? So, you know, not many MMA fights, but he comes from that kickboxing background, right? He trains with the GOAT, right? He trains with Adesanya. He trains with Volkanovski, with Hooker and all of them mans them, right? So he's getting those looks. And I think we see it in his fighting style, right? He's patient. He's not rushing in. He's very precise. You know what I mean? So, young in his MMA career, but Stirling clearly has what it takes. And yeah, I think I'm running with Stirling to get the win Saturday night. We then go to our second female fight. It's the flyweights. We got Casey O'Neill against Gabriella Fernandes. Yes, Gabriella Fernandes, aka Gabby. You know, that's kind of one of them ones where it's just like, we can't think of a good nickname. So we're just going to say Gabby, right? She's 32, 5'6", 66-inch reach, 11-3 overall. Okay. She is 3-2 in the UFC. Went 3-0 in the LFA, right? She's on a 3-fight win streak. And I think that alone tells us something, right? So she makes her UFC debut February 2023. Loses a decision to Jasmine Jasjajevic. Then she loses another decision in June the same year to Teresa Beda. Right? So, you know, you come like, look, she won the LFA flyweight belt, right? Beat Caroline Martins, second round guillotine, gets the call to the UFC, right? You must be so not lost. Well, I mean, she did lose, like her second pro fight, right? But, you know, a decision. But since then, she's been knocking people out, submitting, right? She's won a belt. Comes to UFC, loses, then loses the next fight, and there must be so much doubt going through her head. Like, that must hit your confidence. Feel like, am I ready for this level? Right? I was winning on the region. Like, I come to the big show and I lose the first 2 fights. Fuck. But you know what? She won the next one, right? Got a split decision over Charlie Giudice, and we've seen how good Giudice is, right? That got fight of the night. Then beats Chong Wong, rear naked in the second. Another performance bonus right there. And then last time out, she beat Julia Stolarenko. Got a decision over last year. So, yeah, no, right? She's in it. She ain't here just to take part. You know what I mean? She's been putting in work. But Casey O'Neill. Casey King O'Neill, Saturday night, right? Casey is 28, 5'6", 69-inch reach. So, yeah, she is a fighter by 4 years. She is, they're the same height, but O'Neill has a 3-inch reach advantage. Casey is 10-2 overall. Okie dokie. 5-2 in the UFC. Right? She is currently on a 1-fight win streak. So, yeah, Casey made her debut back in February 2021. Beat Shayna Dobson, second round ground and pound. Choked out Lara Fritzen in the third. Then beat Antonia Shevchenko. You know what I mean? Beat Roxanne Modafferi via split. But ran up against Jennifer Maia. That was just a fight too high at the time. Right? And then Ariana Lipsy da Silva caught her with an armbar last time out, which was well, not last time out, right? That was in December 2023. So last time out, she got back on track, beat Lorna Santos, right? That was August 2024. Now, we do know, so like Casey has been just inundated with injuries. That has really slowed her career. You know, like at the very beginning, I remember when she debuted and she just got these wins, and people were thinking that Casey could be, you know what I mean, could be a potential challenger for the belt, right? And I know when she beat Antonia, right, it was like, Valentina, look, you know what I mean? She was kind of trying to be like, yo, but yes, the injuries and just things haven't quite panned out, right? It's a bit similar to Macy Barber, who's fighting in the co-main, right? But they're still both young, right? So there's plenty of time for O'Neal to, you know what I mean, come back, right? To put together a run, to do her thing. And will that start Saturday night? That is the question. That is the big question here, people. And I think she might do, right? I think O'Neal has fought the tougher resume. Like, she's been out a minute, but when she's at her best, she's very good. So I'm going to go with Casey King O'Neal for the win. So from the flyweights, we go all the way up to the heavyweights. Yes, people. All right, we got Marcin Tybura against Tyrell Fortune. Yes, Tyrell Fortune, he's 35, 6 foot, 75 inch reach. Overall pro record 17-3 with 2 no contests. Okie dokie. This is his UFC debut. He's fought in the PFL and Bellator. Right? He's on a 3-fight win streak. So, last time out, right? He last fought September 2025, and Demoro Denise, right, has a win over him. That was in the LXF. I don't know, right? But that's where, it was stopped in the 3rd round by the doctor. You know, so, I mean, look, he did the damage to get the fight stopped, right? He's picked up regional belts. You know what I mean? And, I mean, his last big fight was Sergey Bilostany in the PFL. That was August 2024. Got stopped by. Right. He did beat Marcelo Gomez, ex-UFC fighter, I believe. Right. And he does actually have a win over Sergey Bilostany. He knocked him out in the first. So he knocked him out in Bellator. Bilostany got a revenge in the PFL with the heel hook win. Right. So he's got knockout power, right? Fortune's got knockout power. He has been knocked out too. Like, he's picked up a rear naked back in the day. You know what I mean? But I don't think necessarily the ground game is him, right? But yeah, look, he's big, right? He is big. As I say, he's got some power. But he is stepping in with Marcin or Tybura, who is 40, 6'3", 78-inch reach. So, yeah, Tybura, he's 5 years older. He has 3-inch reach advantage and 3-inch height advantage, which is, yeah, sometimes you look at Tybura and you don't think he's that big. And then you realize, oh shit, he is. Right? Pro record of 27-10. So a lot more fights, right? A lot more fights. 14-9 in the UFC. Went 7-1 in the M1. So you know what I mean? Like, I think M1 is the equivalent of a PFL, right? But it's just that European promotion. Now, as we know, last time we saw Tybura, he was rematching with Ante Dalige and got stopped in the first, right? Stopped in the first, which was a surprise. I mean, I think I'd picked Ante to get the win, but I don't think it was going to be how it went, right? But I think Tybura, at his best, he's very smothering. You know what I mean? He's very stubborn. He's very durable, which was the crazy thing about a quick win over him, right? Ante got one. Sergey Spivak got him in an armbar in the first, right? So, you know, Aspinall did. But, you know, when anyone can stop him like that, it's like, oh, shit. Because Tybura is durable. You know what I mean? And he's fought a lot of big, like he beat Mick Parkin, who is big, right? Jahante Dinez, right? Tai Tuivasa, Bloge Ivanov, Alexander Romanov, right? He's got those sorts of wins. Beat Walt Harris back in the day. Ben Rothwell, Greg Hardy, Maxim Grisham. You know what I mean? He's fought big fighters and won. And he's definitely fought a higher quality of opposition. You know, having a lot of different looks. Right? He made his UFC debut all the way back, April 2016. Lost a decision to Tim Johnson back then, right? But yeah, put together that record, got a myriad of wins. And yeah, I think on Saturday night, I think Tybura, I think he's going to have too much for Fortune. The only thing you might say is if maybe Tybura's chin has gone. But I don't think it has. Right? He walked in, he didn't see against Delife. Gone. But I think that would be the one thing that could get Fortune to win. Other than that, I think Tybura, his takedowns, his smothering style, I think it will be too much. So, our featured bout on the prelims, we're with the lightweights, right? Actually, our last two are lightweight fights, right? So, we have Chase Hooper against Lance Gibson. So, fearless Lance Gibson Jr. He's 31, 5'9", 72-inch reach. Okay. He's got a 9-2 pro record. All right. He is 0-1 in the UFC. right? He's coming off of a loss. So he fought King Green in December last year. Lost a split decision. You know, before that, he'd won his last two, right? Beat Sharon Spain and RJ Holt. Knockout and a submission. So you can imagine, right? He's coming into that UFC debut feeling pretty good. But King Green, right? Just too savvy, man. Too savvy. Right? So, yeah, when you look at Gibson Jr.'s record, like his previous fights, you know, he's got some knockouts, right? He does like a rear naked choke. Yeah, you know, he's doing his thing, but it's always just the quality of the opposition. You know what I mean? That is always like the big thing with that. When you're knocking people out, when you're submitting people, and you're doing all of that stuff outside the UFC, because some promotions, they do the can thing, right? They do that. They put people up against people that, you know, it's not really a competition. So you do get found out when you make that step up. You know what I mean? That is the big thing. And, you know, on Saturday night, Lance will be going up the Dream, Chase Hooper, right? 26, 6'1", 74-inch reach. So, yeah, Chase is, 5 years younger. He's 2 inches taller. And on the reach as well, right? Chase, surprisingly enough, he's had more fights, right? He's got a pro record of 16-4-1. Okay, so yeah, came via the Contender Series, right? That was all the way back at July 2018, right? July 2018. Now, because he was so young, right? He was so young that he didn't get a contract. What they did was they kind of took him on and were like, look, we'll get you fights, and we will get you good matchups, and we'll see you develop, and when you're ready, we'll bring you in. So that's what they did, right? And, you know, he was winning. He was winning, so came to the UFC. December 2019 was when he made his pro debut. First round stoppage. He did then fight Alex Carreras, right? Tough one, right? He lost, but you learn, right? It wasn't, I think, like the Steve Patterson fight, because back then Hooper's, his stand-up was not very good, right? And I think it really showed in the Patterson fight and then the Garcia fight, right? But he went away, right? He went away. He worked on those things, right? Steve Garcia was October 2022. His next UFC fight was May 2023. Now, he had a grappling fight in between, but he took some time, worked on the striking, and I think we have definitely noticed a clear difference in his striking. You know what I mean? He's definitely got a lot better. Now, yes, he did get knocked out by Alexander Hernandez, but he wasn't looking bad in that fight, right? Wasn't looking bad, but I do believe he just dropped his guard, right? Dropped his guard, stepped in, boom, got knocked out. Can happen to anyone. But I think what we've seen from Hooper is like a clear improvement in the striking, but not to the detriment of his submission game, because he is still looking for the sub when it's there, right? Got Clay Guida with the armbar, got a Das over Slavaclaws, right? So he will still choke you if you know what I mean? So I think that's the big thing. Chase Hooper, I think he's coming away with a victory on Saturday night, right? So that takes us to our last fight on the prelims. As I said, we're still with the lightweights. We have Ignacio Bahamondes against Tofiq Musayev. If I have pronounced that correctly, I don't know, people. Tofiq Musayev is 36, 5'9", 69-inch reach. Okie dokie. He is 22-6 overall. Okay, now he's coming off of a loss, which was his UFC debut, right? It was against Mitabek Orabai. That was June 2025. Got caught with a Kimura in the first round. I mean, it can happen to anyone. Can happen to anyone. So it's just like, these things happen, right? Now, he was originally meant to fight Samuel Sanchez, but Sanchez got injured, so he was able to stay on the right, and he gets this, which might be a tougher fight, right? Might be a tougher fight, which is like, ooh. You know what I mean? It's one of them. Like, you just think, oh, damn it, my opponent's dropped out. Okay, who they got? Oh. Fuck. You know what I mean? But it's all good, right? So, outside the UFC, and he's, like, I think one of his toughest fights, like, he fought Patricio Pitbull, right? Won the Rizin tournament with that fight, right? I think it was one of the their New Year's one. Now, I think you fought twice on the night, or maybe fought the Saturday and then no, I think it was the same night. So yeah, I think he fought twice that night. So that's a big win. That was probably his biggest win. He's got a few knockouts, right? Got a few knockouts. He can be submitted though, right? When you look at his losses, a lot of them have been via submission. Conda, a triangle, there's an arm bar, another triangle, you know what I mean? So a Kimura, that was it. So yeah, he can be submitted, you know what I mean? Now, going up against La Jalal, Ignacio Bahamondes, right? He's 28, 6'3", 75-inch reach. So yeah, as I say, it's one of them. 8 years younger. He is 5 inches taller, and he's got a 6-inch reach advantage. So, it's a tough one. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, as they say. You know what I mean? Yeah, Bahamondes, he's 17-6 pro record in the UFC 6-3 series, right? Won that contract in November 2020, beat Edson Gomez with a front kick in the second round. All right, so he gets a call up April 2021, loses a split decision to John Madesia. He did miss weight, but then put some shit together, right? Beat Roosevelt Roberts with a wheel kick. You know what I mean? Got a Brado choke over Ragahu. And then he beat Trey Ogden, right, by a decision. Ludovic Klein picked up a very impressive win over him. But he got back on track, got a win over Christos Gages, Manuel Torres, and Jalen Turner. All of them picking up performance of the night wins. But he then fell foul to Rafael Faiz, which was a surprise, right? I picked Bahamondes to win that fight. But I don't know, he just looked very one note in that fight, right? It didn't look like he had another plan. It was just like, well, this is how I thought I was going to win. I'm just going to stick to it, right? So that was very odd. But I think those kind of fights are important. They do teach these younger fighters a lot. Now, that was June last year. So he's had a lot of time to, you know what I mean, work on strategy to perfect those skills. And I think Saturday night, Lauhala is coming back, right? He's getting back into the win column. Homie's gonna pick up a win. And we're going to, boom, really jump into that main card with a fire fight, right? That's what I'm thinking, people. So let's see what the fuck happens.